Anyway, I'm delighted to be here today to be part of the opening of the Oval. This is something that the Commonwealth Government contributed 1.9 million to, but needs to be seen in terms of a bigger investment that the club's been associated with, the buildings in which we now stand, and the huddle concept. That was a $15 million investment, of which the Commonwealth contributed another 2, but it is a genuine partnership when you look at the total $17 million between the Commonwealth, the state government, local government, the football club and the AFL. The important thing to note about this is not only is it a fantastic training facility for the players, it's the size of the Etihad Oval, so Brad will be able to tell you the importance of that in terms of training, etc. But it's more than just for the football players. This is a genuine community facility. The engagement of this community, and in the true heritage and tradition of the North Melbourne Club, not only being the team of courage and determination and of integrity, the club that everyone else actually quite admires, despite what they say about their own club, but it's also a club that's always understood the importance of the community in which it plays for, it's represented, it's proud to represent, but a community itself which has changed. This is now a much more culturally diverse community. You can see that in the support base, but most importantly, it's reflected in the facilities that are offered here. The huddle is actually an outreach program in terms of engaging with youth, in terms of the communities that it services. So in the very best traditions of North's respect for its heritage, it's also understanding its future, and it's building its support base by engaging with the community. These new facilities are part of that engagement, and we're delighted as the Commonwealth Government to be part of that partnership.
Pretty big rap from the Minister. Brad, in regards to the culture of the Commonwealth, I think you spoke about that last week as well. Yeah,
well, we do. It's something we hold very dear to our heart, and it's really the foundation of our football club. We absolutely regard ourselves as leaders in the competition and engaging with the community, and the huddle concept has been a world first, and something that I think organisations from around the world are coming to look at so they can replicate in their own community. And sport has always been a fantastic and really important part of the community, and the more that people can engage with clubs like ours, I think the better. Friday morning we'll have our first training session out on the ground, and as per usual we'll invite all our fans down to be part of the club, because really our club is built on its supporters. And I think we regard ourselves as leaders in the competition in terms of engaging with our supporters. We don't close off our training sessions very often. We like to get our supporters down to integrate with the players and get to know our players, and I think that's an important part of footy, because professional sport these days can be seen as elitist, and it can be seen as disengaging with the community, and we want to go the other way. We want to engage with our supporters and get them to be part of our club, not just barracking for our club, but actually being an integral part of it and engaging with it.
NAB Cup this weekend, Brad. Are there any guys likely to come into the team?
Well, it's hard to say at this early stage in the week, Nick, but we had our squad of 34 last week, so it's probably unlikely that Lee Adams will be right to play. He's probably the only regular member of our team that wasn't in the squad last week, so he won't be right to play this week. So it'll be more a process of leaving a few players out rather than bringing new ones in.
Nathan Guarma getting close?
Yeah, he's close, but he wanted to play last week, but he's a really important part of our back six, and he's touch and go, but we won't risk him if he's not absolutely 100%. We prefer to get some more training sessions into him. So at this early stage, I would say he's more unlikely than likely, but we certainly won't be taking any risks.
Majak, I think both knees were iced after the game. He had some strapping. How's he going?
Yeah, but look, we're hopeful Madge will be up, and right to play. But he did have some swelling Sunday morning and Saturday morning, so that was disappointing given we managed his load through the pre-season that we thought he'd get through, and we managed his load in the game. So at this stage, he's at best 50-50 to play this week. He'd be selected in the side, but if that swelling doesn't reduce significantly over the next 24 hours, then I'd say he probably won't play, and we'll start to look to getting him right for the following week.
Just on Majak, Brad, a lot has been said over the last couple of days about that piece of play where he pushed off the player, ran forward, kicked the goal himself. Is that something you encourage him to do, or is there was an opportunity where he could have passed it off to someone else who was clear? Which option have you sort of spoken to him about? Well,
the thing with Madge is we made it very clear to him that we want him to take the game on. Right at the moment, Madge is in the early stages of his development. Despite what people say, he's got a lot of work to do, and he knows that clearly. We're trying to simplify the game for him at the moment. I stated before the game that he would do some things that would make people stand up and take notice. But he's still really working hard on the fundamentals of the game. In that particular passage of play, he didn't see Brad McKenzie on the inside. It's very easy in hindsight for people to say he should have passed it off, but he simply didn't see him. And they're the fundamentals that I'm talking about. It takes a long time for players to develop the awareness of what's going on around them. Madge at the moment, for him, the simplest way for him to play is to play to his strengths. And you can see from that goal, they're his strengths. He'll evolve and he'll develop that awareness as time goes on, and he wants to be a really respected member of this team, and that means giving it to a player in a better position when it presents itself. So when he saw the vision of that, he said, yeah, I should have given it to Brad, but I just didn't see him. And so that's what we're training with him. That's what we're working on with him to try and evolve his development.
Is it exciting having a player like this? I mean, he's a blank whiteboard, isn't he? What you're teaching him over the next couple of years is what he's going to take through his football career for the rest of his life, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, Alex Zashenko, our ruck coach, has done an enormous amount of work with Madge. All our development staff do a lot of work with him, but at the end of the day, players take ultimate responsibility for their destiny, and any success that comes his way is going to be through Majak's hard work. But I think it's the joy of coaching. That's why we coach, because the satisfaction you get from working really hard with a player, and to Alex Zashenko's credit and to all our development staff's credit, I think they take great satisfaction in watching Madge improve.
Is the possible heat in Townsville any concern, and do you train accordingly to try to prepare for it?
It's no concern. When the fixture came out, February in Townsville at 3:30 in the afternoon, we've had ample warning of what the weather's going to be like. I think the forecast has been a high of 32 and a low of 26 for about 6 months. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. The AFL will take all necessary precautions, and we'll make sure we prepare really well. But it's the same for both teams, so we're not concerned about the heat at all.
Your thoughts on the interchange, on the changes there?
I've had nothing to do with it, to be honest. So I've got full faith in the AFL that they make the decisions that are good for the game and right for player welfare, and we just play within the rules that are provided. But in terms of the trialling of the caps and the substitutions and all these things, well, I'm concerned a little bit that the premise is incorrect in the first place. I mean, I'm not sure that we should be trying to tire players out to try and reduce congestion, because you go back and look at the evolution of the game through the early 2000s. We had flooding. Late 2010 we had the opposite, players pushing to the other end of the ground. So coaches evolve and alter their tactics based on what's presented to them. So if players are tired and we cap rotations and we fatigue players and we make it difficult for them to get around the ground, we'll just adapt. We'll just change the game again. If our players are really tired and we're getting scored against, and we're opening up, there's less congestion, well, we're likely just to put 16 players behind the ball to stop us being scored against. So I'm very wary when it comes to tinkering with the game to try and change the evolution of the game. If we make rule changes every time there's an evolution in the game, we'll just end up chasing our tail. And my great fear is that the game becomes unrecognisable in the not too distant future. So I would prefer to just let things go as they are and let the game evolve naturally.
Are you happy though with trialling of rules in the NAB Cup? I mean, if you're going to do it, that's the only place to do it, isn't it?
I feel for the AFL, because that's the best way to do it. But what I also would say is they do the best they can to trial things in the NAB Cup. That the reality is we're playing shortened games. So when you cap interchanges at 20, the quarters go for about 7 or 8 minutes less than the regular season, and you find that most of the interchanges happen late in quarters. So we're going to get an accurate set of data. I doubt it, but I don't know what the alternative is. So I think the AFL are doing the best they can with the circumstances they're in.
Have you spent much time preparing for it, Brad?
No. No, I mean, we'll prepare for it in the long term because you would suggest it's going to come in. But, you know, in terms of spending a lot of time with the players for 2 games in the NAB Cup, you know, we're more focused on round 1, our preparations for that. So the coaches have spent a lot of time on it, but the players wouldn't have had it mentioned at all.
You just mentioned then about your preparations for round 1 is what you're focusing on, but I get the impression you'd probably want to win this competition, any competition you win in, as opposed to some of the other coaches that have quite blatantly said they don't really care to win.
We'll never say we don't care whether we win or lose. We always want to win. We want to win everything we compete in. It's an old cliche, but it's a very strong philosophy of this club that we want to compete, and we want to compete to the best of our ability. So that's NAB Cup, that's every game we play, whether we're 10 goals up, 10 goals down. You know, in terms of our planning, we picked our best squad last week. Winning becomes a habit, and you know, we want to develop that winning habit. So we'll be going out this week to win. But in saying that, we'll manage our players as best we can to get them ready for round 1, because that is the priority. But you know, the 24 players we take up to Townsville will be out there to win, no doubt.
Just on a few guys, Brad, that had their first game on Friday, do you have to manage them any differently this week because of the cap in terms of Jack Ziebell or Daniel Wells, those type of guys?
No, we're pretty comfortable with their preparation. I'm pleasantly surprised at the level they're at. So both of those guys will play this week, and you know, I think that we'll more manage their training load during the week, but we need to get game time into them. So they'll both play, and regardless of what the interchange is, whether they extend it or not.
What do you think of Jacobs on the weekend? Even these facilities, the fact that from memory he made it quite clear he wanted to be here at this footy club. When you're coming back to Melbourne, that wouldn't have happened in the past all that much because of the facilities. Yeah, I think that it's a great vote of confidence in the investment. And it gets back to the investment the club's made in the community, because all of these things that we have now wouldn't have been possible without the support of the state and federal government, without the support of Peter Scanlon and his foundation and investment in the huddle. And that then has flowed on to improvements in the football department and the ability to be able to attract a player like Ben Jacobs, who's returning from interstate. So, you know, I think there's a tangible example of the club's investment in the community also benefiting on field.